We're back again, friends, with another tier list. This time, it's time to give an upgrade. Upgrades specifically for storages. Now, if you're a fan of the channel, you probably remember we have done this tier list already. I wanted to revisit now that we've had an opportunity to upgrade some of the storages on this list. There have been a few additional that have been added in some recent updates, specifically the island region update. Brought some new ones to the table as well. And again, in the recent update, we got some upgrades for a handful of these storages. So I want to jump back in. I do think, and I hope, I do like to have fun with these. I'm going to say this up front. I'm probably going to make some crazy thoughts every once in a while, but I do hope that as we go through these, this is helpful for you, especially if you're looking at or thinking about maybe what you should spend some genomes on, where you want to maybe get some value, because again, there is plenty of these storages that are available in the genome shop, as well as through different events in many instances. VIP events, some of these have come back, and a handful of others. So this is intended for fun, but it is also intended to be a little bit of, to help you out, kind of stack some things up, and just from an experienced player and last dayer, share some thoughts about these. I'm also going to very specifically talk about, I am only talking about storages at your base, or things that can be used as storages at your base. And I'm not going to include every workbench, because obviously you can put things in those, but there are a couple of things that I think most folks would genuinely consider storage. I'm going to talk about usability. I'm going to talk about space specifically with regards, again, to the upgrades that we have seen for a few of these, and just general, again, usability. What can you put in there? Is that useful or not? Will you stack up a bunch of items in those types of things? And that's generally how we'll talk about the ratings. Really quick, because we did do this the last time, I'm just going to flash up. Here is what we thought this last go around. I took a quick look at this. I think I generally am going to be somewhat in the same ballpark. However, I do think some of my thoughts are going to change. Now, here's how I typically do these rankings really quickly. S is usually reserved for just the best of the best, okay? These are the top premium, bestest of the bestest, usually the top 3 or so what goes in here. A in my list is very, very good. These are storages that if you don't have, strongly consider getting them. If you have the opportunity to do that, they have good versatility, or it's going to be something that you're going to put a lot of items in. B is just middle of the road, solid. They're good, nothing wrong with them. They do their purpose. C and D, obviously you can probably kind of assess, but C is just really, it's fine. It's not great. D, it's just pretty much trash, and use it for what it is, get your value out of it, but is it entirely useful? Probably not. Okay, let's get into this here. Acid Bath is the first one, and it's ironic because it's really not a storage. Here's where I want to put this. I'm going to just slap this into A, and here's the reason for that. This is a ton of space. Now, you need a few things. One, you got to build this thing, which you're very likely on your journey going to do. 2, you do have to get a crate to put in here. Most typically, you're probably going to do a sunken crate from the port. However, some of your floppy disk crates can be infected, and you can drop those in there. Once you go ahead and have done that, you can actually place items inside, and as long as you don't remove all of the items, this will remain a storage. The reason it gets an A is for 2 purposes. One, it's not really intended to be a storage, but you can use it that way. I do like that versatility. You can put anything you want in it, which is also very nice, which is unlike a handful of these storages here, which are going to have some limitations. Most importantly, though, this is unrateable. So if you have a big stockpile of guns or really, really expensive materials, things like expensive metals or, whatever the case may be here, that you don't want raiders to take in the course of getting revenge raided, this is a great way to do it. It's especially useful because early on, this is one of the best options once you get it built to be able to do that. And I say early on because you can build this relatively quickly, although then going to get the crate and put it in there can sometimes be a bit of a challenge. But I do really like Acid Bath, and I'm going to throw it into the A. The bar. I fluctuate back and forth with this. If you're not familiar with the bar is essentially what you would expect. It holds essentially all different types of drinks. So your whiskey, your beer, your teas, your waters can go in here. It's got good storage. It's 300 slots per. It's a pretty good size storage. It is a cool cosmetic. I'd probably put it up in B for the way that it looks. The problem with this ends up being is I think there are genuinely better storages, and this is relatively narrow. You get the chance to get it. If you want something cool at the base, go ahead and get it. How do you get it? It might have been part of an event. I think it was part of an event way back in the day. Currently now, with the way that they're rotating the shop, this does pop up in the shop for you to purchase from time to time. That's how I did get it on my main account. Again, it's cool looking. It has a good purpose, right? Like being able to fill it up. I think mine right now has mostly just water in it, which we've just been stockpiling that you use. So that is nice to have. Could it be better? Sure. It's one of the cooler looking ones, but it's just really narrow in its focus. Okay, this is chests and all chests, and you're just going to know we're putting it in S. These things are great. They're the main storage in your base. Put everything in there. The only one reduction or, thing to consider is they can get broken into. They can get raided, which does kind of stink. All right, bookshelf. I really like the bookshelf. I'm going to throw this up in B. If you're not familiar with this, you can put your coupons, you can put your police cards, you can put your journals and things inside of this. That is really nice. It's got a really good storage. It's also, I think you pick it up now currently through the Survivor's Path, so you're able to build this. It's actually one of the first unique storages that you can come across in the game. I really like that. As you get into raiding, as you get into your grind in the game, if you're not too far, this ends up becoming really, really valuable for you just because you can put so many of your alpha coupons and tickets in there. And that's a great storage for it. As you get later on into raids, you should be grabbing a lot of those. That helps with alpha reputation, helps you get those crates, stockpile some resources. So it's really, really nice. So good versatility. It's perfect for what it does. I do also think it looks pretty cool. It's kind of nice. You can get a little bit of a homey vibe with your base here, and that is pretty neat. All right, Division Box was previously used as part of an event. Now I think it's been featured in some VIPs. I do hope at some point it comes back. We're able to get this. I believe this was the winter event of 2023. Don't quote me on that, but this is a pretty good storage. I'm going to slap this into B here. It holds basically a bunch of different metals, which is really nice. It's an unrateable storage, which most, if not all, I don't think there actually is a special storage. I'm going to say this for all special storages because I don't believe this is the case. All special storages are immune to raiders, which is really nice. So that helps to bump these up a little bit as comparative. But since they're all like that, and this could obviously change in the future, I don't think it will, but it likely could. I'm just going to say that. So it is cool. It is unrateable. But essentially it holds a whole bunch of different metals. It also can hold things like, I believe it's wires, air filters, rubber parts, and maybe one or two other things that I'm not thinking about. It could use a bit of an expansion. I think it could use an additional row, but it does hold 300 of those items per slot. So it is a great way. I store on my main account one. I store a bunch of my metals in it. In my free-to-play account, this also was my main metal storage. So any like titanium, copper, steel, anything that I didn't want to get touched ended up going into this. And it has been like that from the get-go. We all were able to get it from free-to-play, which is why I have a little bit of fondness for it. Any of these storages that you can pick up, either just by playing the game normally through the Genome Shop or through events, typically, in my opinion, are a little bit better. Unfortunately now, again, I think it's just a VIP reward. You may be able to purchase it in the shop. I'm not really too sure. But I have two of these, and I think the other one we did get from a VIP. So I like it. It's solid. It's a good utility, like chest. Could be a little bit better, but nice. I'm going to throw it into B. Electronics crate. Kind of the same thing here. I think I could consider throwing this up into A, but since we put the Division Box here, I'm going to throw this here. What I do like about this is a forlorn fair reward for you to be able to pick up. It should be stage 2, if I remember correctly. And this holds all your electronics. So your wires, all of your electronic components, your high-tech components. It also, interestingly, does hold all of your drone components as well, which is really nice. It ends up being a really good storage. I think it has the perfect amount of slots, 300 items per slot. Also very, very good. I could see, you know what, I'm going to bump this up. The fact that you can still get it free to play and it holds a good variety of really valuable items, I'm going to move it up there. I think I could put the Division box in there too. I'll probably keep that at B because can't currently get it free to play. I just really like the electronics crate storage. I think it's just good. It's super useful, especially because you are going to stockpile wires. You're going to stockpile electronic circuits and, electronic parts. You're going to need a lot of that stuff, especially as you get into heavy weapon modding and drone modification. And I like that everything can have a good central storage there that is safe. So I like it. I also think it looks really cool. I think it's one of the neater ones, just with all the little details on it, the little storage compartments, the little desk shelves. There's a little battery down here too, which is pretty cool. All right, the fridge. I'm throwing this fridge up in the A. This might be one. Did I do this the last time? No, I didn't. I'm putting the fridge in A, in S. Putting it in an S. I said A, I meant S. You see where I put it. Here's why. Food is especially important in this game. You got a whole bunch of carrots. You got a whole bunch of beans. You got a whole bunch of food for your dogs. Dog food fits in this as well. And why it moves up for me on this list is because you could get one in the Genome shop. Now, a slight take back from that is the fact that you now have to level this up. That does stink a little bit, okay? I didn't really have to do that, but it did get an upgrade where it got some additional storage slots, and it's a big storage. It holds a lot per slot. It's one of the best utilities. It's one of those things that if I were to tell players, if you're kind of newer starting out, just getting to your genomes, just starting to get your northern region grind going, prioritize this. The fridge is excellent. Grab your fridge, get it upgraded, get it in your base. You are going to thank yourself many, many moons down the road, and that's awesome. You can also purchase one from the shop, so you can have two in your base if you are not a free-to-play player. It's one of the strongest recommendations I have outside of the warehouse, actually, which we're going to talk about here soon. One of the strongest recommendations I have for a storage that you can get, because it's always going to be valuable. So really enjoy that one. Fish fridge is a newer one. I'm going to throw this up in B. This is cool. We didn't previously up until the island region or northern region update. This is northern region update? Yeah. Prior to those updates, we did not have a storage for our fish, which seems kind of silly, but you could, if you fished a lot, you could actually get a pretty big stockpile of fish going, considering that each fish has 3 different rarities, your bronze, silver, and gold, plus you have a pretty good volume of fishes as well. I do anticipate at some point us seeing a fishing update. I'm hoping maybe we get some additional fish rods. I'm hoping we get some additional variations of fish. I'm hoping we see an upgrade to the cooking stove and kitchen stove that we have with some additional perks that end up being good. So I do think this is going to be in the future a very beneficial storage. If you don't do a lot of fishing, you don't really need this one, but if you have the extra genomes, it is cool. I also do like the aesthetic of it. It looks pretty neat. I put it right next to my kitchen stove, and the whole vibe of it is really neat. Can I do anything other than that? No, that's the only probably drawback for it. So I could consider maybe throwing this into C, but I do like the way that it looks. And again, it's free to play accessible. You grind your genomes, you're going to be able to purchase it in the shop. That's pretty cool. All right, storage for explosives. Gosh, I'm putting this in C. This recently got an upgrade, which made this better. It looks cool. It's just still not that good. You can put all of your explosives into it, so your C4s, your grenades, your Molotovs, your carrot grenades. If you have the carrot dispenser from a couple of Easters ago, it just still doesn't hold a lot. Once it was upgraded, it got a little bit better. It's definitely moved up on my list. It's just not super useful, unfortunately. Like, you can store a lot of those grenades. I think the best part about it is the fact that it can stack C4. It's the only storage that can do that currently. That's about its only true benefit. Other than that, it's passable. It was free to play accessible. I do have this on my free to play account from a recent event, but I don't know. This is not where I would spend a ton of time. If you can get it, I do recommend getting it, especially if you're a player that raids a lot and does a whole bunch of bunker alpha runs and gets a lot of C4. It is very good for that. But even upgraded, only holds 15 C4 per storage slot, and it only has 8 slots, 7 slots, something like that. It's just not very big, so it gets a C from me. Fuel storage. This is maybe the controversial one. I'm going to put this at B, and here's why. One, it looks cool. I really do like the look at this at the base. For storage capacity with the upgrade, I think it brought it up to 4,000. Don't quote me on that. That was about 1,000 fuel upgrade over the previous version. That was good. It still does not save a ton of space in the base, unfortunately. With as much fuel and how fuel works and the containers, especially since in many instances you want to hang on to those containers in case you find opportunities while you're raiding, doing a few other different types of missions where you come across some bikes and can get some fuel. I just don't think this saves you a ton of storage. What this is, and why I put this into the rank of B, is because it is one of the best quality of life changes that we have. With the updates to the island region, using the boat a lot, using your chopper to move around the map, even having the ATV, especially once you have all 3 vehicles, the fact that you can just click in this, push a couple of buttons really quickly, and fill all of your vehicles up with fuel is a huge time saver. You used to have to go put the gas in, click the thing, then unmove it, then move the empty storages to something else. It was a little bit of a grind, and the fact that you could just go to this, put the fuel in here, then click a button, instantly everything's fueled up. It fuels your boat, and you don't even have to be there. So after every run that I go do to the island region, first thing I do, come back to the base, go into my fuel storage, click fuel up, and then it's ready to go the next time. This, for me, gets B, not because of its storage, but because of its quality of life. I would love to see some other types of storages like this in the future where they have good storage capabilities, but also good quality of life. And we're going to talk about one here in a second that actually moves pretty high up on my list because it was designed around those 2 things, which is really, really nice. All right, we have the junk repository, which I'm going to throw into B here as well. This is the first reward from your Forlorn Fare, free to play accessible, so very, very nice. This holds all of your junk stuff. This is great to put next to your recycler because it essentially holds everything that your recycler is going to want. Your batteries, it can actually hold gold bars, your phones, your watches, all of that good stuff. It's perfect for what it is because you do want to find some use for those resources. As you continue to grind in the game, you're going to get a ton of that stuff if you pick it up. Raids become a good place to grab that, where you can get just stacks and stacks of batteries, not only for scrap metal, but more importantly for copper. Watches end up being really good. Cameras have been become a little bit more useful because of the ability to get lenses. Now is a little bit harder. So I like this storage. It's perfect for what it does. It doesn't really hold anything outside of that, which is why I'm just going to throw it into the B area. But it's got a good quantity of slots, and I think it's 300 slots per thing. I would love to see with this, the electronics crate, I would love to see upgrades for these. We've seen some upgrades again for the fuel. We've seen some upgrades for the explosives. We've gotten upgrades now with the fridge. I'd love to see these 2 get an upgrade in the general store for the genomes, because I think that's a really cool way for them to continue to provide value and you also to be able to spend some resources to get some extra storage space. They've continued to expand the amount of storages we have in the game over the years, which is really nice because at some point you run out of chests, you can't upgrade these trunks and whatever and go beyond that. It takes ash and all that stuff. But even that has a cap and has a limit, right? So having specialty storages for different types of items is really nice. I'd love to see those things continue to get upgraded because it'd feel like an additional reward later on, right? You can grind some genomes, you finish your Forlorn Fare, you get genomes now once that resets for you. That'd be a cool place, I think, be able to drop them in here. All right, I include the pickup truck because technically store stuff in the back. It's the first place you grab some stuff on your journey here in Last Day on Earth, but it gets a D because it's in the way, okay? And it only holds like 10 slots or 8 slots or whatever, 10 slots, I think. And it's just in the way. And people sit on it now, people lean on it. Raiders come, they stand outside of it, they're looking at it, it's all junky. I wish you could upgrade this. I wish you could make it an actually cool looking pickup truck, right? Let me take some of the ATV wheels that I've got from some raids and throw them on this thing, all right? It sucks, it's not really a storage, but you can put some stuff in it, and that is what it is. So I'm gonna move on from that one. Lockers. Ooh. I'm putting lockers in the A tier. I could see lockers being S tier. I think the only thing drops me down to A is that you can only put one set of armor in it. However, it does all of the things that I talked about with the fuel storage, but it's just a more useful storage, in my opinion. If you're not familiar with these, one set, one locker can hold one specific set of armor and up to 10 pieces of each of those sets. It also has a quality of life feature where you can instant equip that set of armor to your character. These are fantastic. You can also get 20 of them in the Genome Store, which is really cool. So, Island region, you got the ability to go. Once you get there, get that shop unlocked. You have the ability to open these up. This saves you a ton of trunk and chest space, which is really nice because armor typically takes up a lot of space. This stacks those things for you, separates them. It's really, really cool. I also like the aesthetic of it. When you put a set of armor in it, if you haven't seen, it shows you the armor in the locker. I have to get my grind going to get more of these on my main account. I know some of our Discord friends have a whole lot of them. I think these are really cool. So I'm going to slot these into A. I really strongly recommend, once you've gone and gotten like your fridge from the Genome Store, this is probably up there for the next purchase, in my opinion. It's pretty close. I would not blame anybody for going and grabbing this. Just a very solid storage. And again, quality of life, you get back from a raid, you get back from a grinding mission, whatever, your armor's crap, you delete it all, you go into this, one button click, boom, you've got a fresh set of armor on. That's awesome. Absolutely awesome. I love that. Okay, mannequin. Mannequin is really cool. I don't remember exactly where you could pick these up. I do know that you could buy one in the shop. Maybe you can buy both. Maybe they are both purchasable. I don't remember. I'm sure I probably bought them on our main account. Essentially, what you could do is you could put a set of armor on them, and then they have a whole bunch of poses. They're really probably bad. This really should probably go to here. The fact that it can change a whole bunch of poses is just a neat. This is more of like a display piece than anything. So if you have like a unique set of armor or something cool in the game to throw on, you can do that. They serve really no other purpose besides that, just to look cool. I personally just like it, so put it wherever you want, but that's where I'm at. All right, med cabinet. If you're not familiar, you can get this from a huge grind in the port lab. Once you max out the port lab reputation by clearing all the different zones multiple times and doing all the reputation items, you're grabbing yourself a medicine cabinet. You can also get one, or previously you were able to get one through a VIP event, so that may come back at some point in the future. I love this. I wish this was more accessible, but I will say this feels like a great reward for doing a huge grind at Port Lab. What it is, it's exactly what you would expect it to be. It is relatively narrow, but beyond food, the next thing you need a ton of, or vice versa, you need a ton of both of these, is meds. You need a ton of meds in the game. Super helpful. It can hold all of the different meds that you would think of. So your inhalers, the little yellow bottles of the stuff you take for Bunker Bravo that I can't remember, all your different types of heals, everything can go in these. Big stacks of 300, decent sized storage space. Again, this is one of those that in the future I'd love to see an upgrade for, just to get a few more slots to it, because that would be really nice. It holds your warming first aid kits, a whole bunch of stuff. I really like it. I also think it is really cool looking. It's kind of neat. Reminds me of like a little, almost like things you'd put pizzas in. The boxes look like pizzas. That's not what it is, obviously, but I don't know. I just like pizza, I guess. But I do think it is really cool. And again, it's a super useful, and it is something, again, free to play, grind this. It's a great top end reward. It's very hard to get. Do not get me wrong. Very difficult to get, but when you do get it, this will save you an immense amount of storage space. You could press all of your heals down. Trust me, when you get it, you'll be like, wow, I certainly saved a whole bunch of rack space for these things. Okay, this is the ore storage, which just recently on a recent video, we got these, we opened them up, got some of the upgrades, and I purchased this. This is D tier for me. It holds all ores. So any ore that you have, scrap metal, all that kind of stuff, iron ore, aluminum ore, or bauxite, excuse me, copper ore, it'll hold them all. It's huge, takes up 2 spots. It's ginormous in your base. And the storage for it, with the amount that you need to then craft those into something, you'd think this would be 300, 400, 500 slots, storage spots per slot. It is not. It is not. This is terrible. This needs a massive overhaul, in my opinion. It's cool. The idea of it is cool. You would want something like this. Honestly, I think this would be one of those things that you would want, very much like the bookshelf, to be able to give players early, right? They're going to be grinding a ton of basic resources to refine later. You want them to have access to this. One, you can't get access to it very quickly because it's in the island region. Seems crazy to me. But second of all, it just doesn't do what you need it to do. It's expensive. I think it's 1,600 genomes, and it just sucks. I'm sorry. It needs like quadruple the space. It needs quadruple the rows. It doesn't even have a ton of rows. And again, could be super useful. They need to change it. Aesthetically, it looks cool. You got the like 3 barrels with the turning thing, and like that's cool too, but it needs a lot of work. So it sits there. The safe. The safe is probably an A. I don't have one. It's the only storage in the game that I do not have. I never purchased this many years ago when it was there. It was the only Raider-proof storage many years ago, outside of a handful of other things, because we didn't have a ton of special storages. I wish I would have bought this. I really do. I wish it would come back, because I would love to buy it. It's not big. I think it's like 4 slots. But it was one of those things you could put your metals in, you could put your guns in, you could put your really expensive stuff. And every once in a while, every once in a rare while, you can come across a Raider base. There's a few that still have these, so you can see them in-game. Unfortunately, you just can't pick them up anymore. I would love to have this. I hope it comes back at some point, because it's kind of like a cool, old, nostalgic thing. I'd love to see them bring this back and then let you upgrade it and make it bigger, like a big gun safe or something like that would be really sweet. All right, sewing rack. It's a B. And here's why. The original Hunter's Instinct event, which we have going on right now, this was the top end reward before the aluminum and copper and titanium extractors. And it was awesome. That event played out very similar to the way it does now. We didn't have a bunch of the specialty weapons and stuff that you need to go get, which has certainly been a part of it. You didn't have the island region, so you didn't need the boat to go do that. The Forgotten Wetlands just showed up on the map, so you could go there without like anything special. But that being said, free to play, accessible. This holds all of the things that you would think that a sewing rack could. So all of your cloth, all of your fur pelts. It is really neat looking. I don't know if you can tell, the picture's a little small, but you got like the animal fur laid out. You've got some stuff, some hides over the side. You got some, full, sewing materials and stuff. It's just really cool looking. It's a great storage for all of that stuff. It is only 200 items per slot, so it is a little bit smaller than something like a junk repository, a division box, electronics crate. I would love to see an upgrade to this. But more importantly, where this would step up to an A, in my opinion, would be as if it became free to play, accessible now. I don't know if you can buy this in the shop or the store. If you can, it's really good because it will save you some space. Problem ends up being, again, not very accessible and a little bit on the smaller side. I genuinely wish Hunter's Instinct would bring this back as like a mid-tier reward for a lot of players. I think if they did that, folks that didn't and weren't able to get it the last time, be really appreciative of that. Be a nice reward that lots of free-to-play players could grind to, and then you could keep the extractors where you have them at the top end of the rewards, and that would be pretty cool. So I do like it a lot. Unfortunately, with not a ton of players having access to it, it's probably one of the lesser known storages out there, just because it came around once and then haven't really seen it from that point. Triumph crate storage thing. It looks cool. All it does is hold your decorations, so it's variably useless rather. I could do without it. It's probably like a C. I kind of want to put it in D. It's also not big. It's like a trunk storage. It's, I don't know, it's like a 5x5 or something. It's not. You need this to be bigger. There are actually an immense amount of decorations in the game that have come out for over the quite a few years the game has been out, and mine is like basically full, and I didn't do a whole lot with decorations. I've been getting more into them because I like to grab them when they become available, but it's cool, but it kind of sucks. Whatever. Okay, warehouse. Goodness gracious, I'm gonna S tier this. I think that's what I did last time. Yeah, I did. I'm gonna S tier this, and here's why. This is another one of those so helpful storages for newer players. It holds all of your wood, your metals. It can hold a bunch of your scrap type items, not items, but scrap type metals and stuff like that. It just is really good. It's probably one of the best basic storage options for newer players. Now, I believe this is purchasable through the shop, and I think that's it. I can't remember if it ever became available during an event, but just the amount that it can hold, the versatility of this, because it holds a lot of your basic materials and, again, is raid proof, ends up being really, really nice. So if you have the opportunity to get this, it's one of those things I'd strongly recommend it, especially if you're kind of struggling with storage. This is just going to free up a ton of space for your crates, which is really, really nice. So I also like it. It's cool. It is a bigger storage, but it feels right sized for what you can put in it, right? And I think it's just a cool piece to have in your base and kind of design around that. So I like this a whole lot. Definitely one of my favorite, and that's where it sits. And then we have the weapon rack. Unfortunately, as cool as the weapon rack is, I'm going to put it in the C tier. Here's why. This holds 4 guns. Any 4 guns you want to put on there, you could put on there, which is pretty cool. It can be rated. They can be broken. You can put batteries in them, actually to illuminate, to showcase your guns, which is really neat. That's why it's not a D tier. But the fact that it only holds 4 guns is kind of a bummer. So it's cool. It's definitely a great kind of like decoration piece. It's also, it can save you a little bit of storage, I guess. But you can craft a handful of these, put them up at your base, put them along a wall, showcase your stuff, do all that stuff, can make it look pretty cool. Other than that, doesn't have a ton of uses. So that's where we're at. Let me know what you think. That's my storages. That's where we're at. Some stuff moved up on the list, some stuff moved a little bit down. Some of the new ones definitely jumped up pretty high in the tier list, especially again because they have provided some good value. Been very impressed with the lockers, like I said. Some of the upgrades have definitely helped. I've been more impressed with the fuel storage, and explosive storage again got just a little bit better. Fridge, I know, is a little frustrating for some players, especially if you didn't get them prior to the upgrades. If you had them prior to the upgrades, they started immediately at level 4, which was really nice, and then it goes up to level 5, but you can't purchase those upgrades in your Genome store, so you can get those once you get up and running. It's still just a very valuable storage overall. So let me know what you think of this new and upgraded tier list. Let me know if you would have moved anything around or you're finding anything super valuable. Of course, my opinions I try to take into consideration. I've done a whole free-to-play series. Been playing the game for a long time on our main account, so kind of trying to factor all that stuff in. But some storages and some of these things will certainly be more or less helpful for you, depending on where you are. And some of these you may or may not have access to, so do keep that in mind. Some of these, if they're purchasable only in the shop for you, I could see you moving those down on the list. Understandable. What is nice and what I hope they do to finish this video up is I do hope when they look at storages and opportunities, Genome Shop is a great way to do it because you can grind that stuff. Special events, it's fine if those events are going to wrap back around. Seen that with Hunter's Instinct and Forlorn Fair. giving you multiple opportunities to at least try to get that stuff. So if they do storages in the future and they're related to something like that, I hope that they make those recurable for players coming into the game. That's what, at least in my opinion, moves some of these up or down on the list, is because they are accessible by free to play, or they're accessible for you by just playing the game and doing some grinding. Some of the other ones, again, that you have to purchase and whatever the case, I could see those being a little bit lower, and I think that's pretty reasonable as well. So let me know what you think. If you enjoyed this, we do these pretty often. We have a whole bunch of other Last Day on Earth content, so be sure to stick around. Hit that subscribe button for us. We're on the road to 10K, our next big channel milestone. Likes, comments are appreciated. I mentioned Discord, links in the description. Come join us over there. Keep that discussion going. And with that, close it out. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.